Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today's Friday, December 9th, 2022. Big Friday show today. World Cup, NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, news and notes, and best bet, and the football Fab Five. We'll start with the World Cup. The quarterfinals are just getting underway. It's Brazil and Croatia on Fox at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Brazil, I'm sure, is an absolute monster of a favorite. They're minus 550. Croatia is plus 390. But the play's going to be over 2.5 goals at plus 105. Just banking on this being a 2-1 game somehow. And then 2 o'clock on Fox, you have the Netherlands and Argentina. Argentina's minus 162. The Netherlands are plus 132. Argentina should beat the Dutch. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at plus 138. Saturday, 10 o'clock on Fox, we have Morocco and Portugal. A magical run for Morocco so far. Portugal's minus 370. Morocco's plus 270. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at plus 122, and I think Portugal will win. And then Saturday, 2 o'clock on Fox, you have England against France. France is minus 130. England's plus 108. So, same pick, 4 games. Over 2.5 goals. This one is plus 114. All right, now move on to the NFL. Thursday Night Football. We'll recap yesterday's game, which turned out to be a thriller, and look ahead to the rest of the Week 14 slate. Rams over the Raiders 17-16 after the Raiders were up 16-3. Rams are 4-9. Vegas is 5-8. Baker Mayfield 22 of 35, 230 yards and a touchdown. Derek Carr 11 of 20, 137 yards and 2 interceptions. He was god-awful in that game. And Josh McDaniels has got to be one and done there, right? And good for the Rams for not giving up and taking advantage of the opposing team's flawed coach and quarterback with not so much upside. So, Raiders, to me, are finished. You can't recover from that. All right, let's move on to Sunday. 1 o'clock on CBS, you have the Jets and the Bills from Buffalo. The Bills are favored in this game by 10. Totals 43.5. I have 6 and 42 in 2 fits. Give me the Jets getting the points. I think they may hang around here. Browns, Bengals. Bengals are favored by 5.5. Totals 46.5. I have 8 and 48 and a quarter. I'm going to lay to 5.5 with Cincinnati. I love this Bengals team, and they're coming together at the right time. On Fox, a terrible game. The Texans and the Cowboys from Dallas. Dallas is giving a whopping 17.5. Totals 44.5. I have 18 and 42 and 3/10. So the pick here is the under. Vikings, Lions. The dumbest line of the week. The Lions are giving 1.5. Total 51.5. Vikings are 8-point favorites. Total 50 and 720. It's according to my book. So give me the Vikes plus 1.5 and plus 108 outright. Vikings should be favored, not the crummy Lions who are garbage defensively. And their offense is decent, but Minnesota's just better. I don't know why. Or this could be the Vegas nose game. Vegas just hates Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. It is flat out disrespectful that a garbage Lions team is this much of a favorite and shouldn't be favored against any team that has more than 7 wins. On CBS, you have the Jaguars and the Titans. Titans are giving 3.5. Totals 41.5. My projection's 8.5 and 41.25. I'm going to lay the 3.5 at Tennessee. Tennessee's good. They're coming together right now. This is a good opportunity for them to rebound a little bit. On Fox, Eagles-Giants from MetLife. Eagles are giving 7 totals, 44.5. I project 4 and 44 in the fifth. I'm taking the Giants, getting the 7. I don't think Brian Daboll is going to let this team roll over. I don't know, or I don't think the Giants are necessarily going to win, but I think they're going to be competitive as a division home dog for a second consecutive week, this time obviously against a superior opponent. And the Giants against superior opponents this season have been marvelous and have been winning most of their games against superior opponents. Washington, you could argue, is right there with them. Not necessarily superior. Ravens superior. At the time, Green Bay superior. Or should I say at the time, Ravens superior because Lamar was healthy at that time. Tennessee superior. So, give me the Giants getting the 7 at home. CBS, Ravens, Steelers. My projection, Steelers for total 42 and a fifth. And it's 1.5 and 36.5. Give me the over. I think that there's going to be more points in this game than you think. I think that there could be a defensive score in this game as well. So, it's just throwing that one out there. So, give me the over. 4 o'clock window on CBS. You have the Chiefs and the Broncos, the game that got flexed out of Sunday Night Football, and rightfully so. Chiefs are giving 9.5 totals, 43.5. I have 13 and 41 in the quarter. I'm laying the 9.5 with the Chiefs. They're so much better than Denver. Denver's a team that's quit. How did they not beat the Ravens without Lamar last week is beyond me. Their coach is the worst in the league. I'm laying it with 9.5. And Andy Reid is going to do laps around the Bronco coach. Buccaneers 49ers on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen on the call. Niners are giving 3.5 totals, 37.5. I have 7.5 and 37 and 17/20. So I'm going to lay with the Niners, even though Jimmy G is not there. I think that this is a defensive game. I think that Brady might turn the ball over a little bit, so I'm going to lay it with the San Francisco 49ers. Panthers, Seahawks, also on Fox. Seahawks are giving 4 total, 44.5. I have 8.5 and 46 and 3/5. I'm going to lay the 4. The disrespect for Seattle is crazy. I do think they're frauds like the Giants, but I do think that they'll beat the Panthers and cover the number. So I'm going to lay the 4 against Seattle or against Carolina. And Sunday Night Football is a dandy. I can't wait for this one. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth on the call. Dolphins, Chargers. My projection is Dolphins by 5.5 total, 48 3/4, and it's 3.5 and 52.5. I'm going to take the under. I think that this is going to be a lower scoring game than you might expect. Usually on paper, when you think, oh, this is going to go over, it goes under. And on paper, last Sunday night, I thought that the Cowboy-Colt game would easily go under, but it went way over because the Cowboys did it themselves and the Colts laid down and rolled over. So I can see this being an under game. So this is a bet on Derwin James to play, obviously. And I just don't like how the Dolphins looked offensively last week. I mean, maybe their offense bounces back a little bit. But hey, 30-20, I know 30-23 would be a loser. 28-24 is a winner. 27-24 seems realistic, right? 27-24 is going to be my final score prediction, somewhere in that realm. 27-23 works, something like that. So I think 27-23 Miami is realistic. So I like the under in this game a lot. And we'll save Monday night for Monday night. All right, college football. We do not have as many games as we've had in weeks past in college football. But there are games that we have to discuss. We will start with a favorite college football game each and every year. It's Navy, it's Army, it's from Lincoln Financial Field in Philly. My projections, Army 2.5, total 50 and 3/10. And Navy is actually favored in the game this year by 2.5, totals 32.5. I like the over. Army Navy tends to go under every year, but could it go over for once? Like even 17-16 wins, 20-17 wins. So give me the over 32.5 in Army Navy, and I think Army will win. They're plus 122 to win. And now we'll do FCS. We have the quarterfinals tonight and tomorrow. 3 games tonight, 1 tomorrow. So first up, 7 o'clock, ESPN2, Sanford, North Dakota State. I project a pick'em in 57 and a 10th. And it is 18.5 and 61.5. I'm taking Sanford getting all those points. And North Dakota State's really good. I understand that, but they're that big of a favorite based on past reputation. So give me Sanford getting all those points to hang around. 10:15 ESPN2. William and Mary in Montana State. My projection is Montana State by 3, total 63 and 2/5. And it's 7.5 and 65.5. Give me William and Mary getting the points to hang around. And 10:30 of Incarnate Word in Sacramento State. I have Sacramento State by 6, total 68 and a 5th. And it's 6.5 and 76.5. I'm going to take the unders. First time I'm taking a total of the FCS part of the college football segment. So give me under 76.5. That is way too high. I know Incarnate Word and Sacramento State are high-scoring offenses, but their defenses aren't bad either. So give defense some respect here. And then noon on Saturday on ESPN is Holy Cross and South Dakota State. My projection is a pick'em in 52 and 4/5. And it's 17.5 and 54.5. Give me Holy Cross getting all those points just to hang around. I'm going to say South Dakota State wins by like 13. All right, now I'll move on to college basketball. We will recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to tonight and the weekend. Maine over Maine, Augusta 103-67. Number 25, Ohio State over Rutgers 67-66. Youngstown State over Westminster, Pennsylvania 117-65. UMass Lowell over UMass 85-80. Marshall over Duquesne 82-71. St. Fran PA over St. Vincent 88-58. Iowa over number 20 Iowa State 75-56. Montana State over St. Thomas, Minnesota 82-65. Michigan over Minnesota 90-75. Colorado over Colorado State 95-65. And Utah over Jacksonville State 99-58. All right, and now the games for tonight. So 6 o'clock is Stony Brook Bryant. My line is Bryant 11, and it is, I didn't do totals today. I apologize, and that's with the NBA as well. 12.5 and 150.5. I'll take the under. New England, Merrimack at 7. We can skip Binghamton Fordham. My line's Fordham 16.5, and it is 13.5. I'll lay it. Fairleigh Dickinson, Columbia. My line's Columbia by 4.25, and it's Fairleigh Dickinson by 1. Giving Columbia getting the 1 and the money line. Dartmouth, Central Connecticut. My line is Dartmouth by 4, and it's Dartmouth 1.5. I'll lay the points. Queens High Point. My line's High Point by 6 3/4, and it's 4.5. I'll lay the 4.5. SEC Network Grambling Vandy. My line is Vandy by 17 3/4, and it's 14.5. I'll lay it. McNeese in Northern Iowa at 8. My line's Northern Iowa by 11.5, and it's 15.5. Giving McNeese getting the points. Lipscomb in Alabama A&M. My line is Lipscomb by 12.5, and it's 9.5. I'll lay it. Washington, Gonzaga at 9 o'clock. I should say number 18, Gonzaga. My line is Gonzaga by 6, and it's 16.5. Give me Washington getting all those points. That's way too many points. Gonzaga is not the Gonzaga of old right now. Chapman, Utah Tech, we can skip. And last but not least, Arkansas State Air Force. My line is Air Force by 8 3/4, and it's 5.5. I'll lay the points. All right, Saturday, get ready. It's a big slate, as it is at each and every Saturday. 11:30 a.m. Tulane and Buffalo from State Farm Arena in Atlanta. 12 o'clock on the Big Ten Network, Penn State, number 17, Illinois. Johnson, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Vermont, Colgate, Drexel, LaSalle. 12:30 Fox Sports 1, LIU, number 5, UConn. 1 o'clock on Longhorn Network, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and number 2, Texas. ESPN 2, Oklahoma, at number 9, Arkansas. SEC Network, Yale at number 16, Kentucky. Lafayette, Quinnipiac. ACC Network, Louisville, Florida State. St. Peter's, St. Joe's, Temple, Penn, Bradford, VMI, Georgetown, Syracuse on ABC. Weber International sets in at 2 o'clock. Canisius, Toledo, Bethune, Northern Florida. Evansville, Ball State. Holy Cross, Northeastern. Regent, Coastal Carolina. NC State, Miami, UC Irvine, South Dakota, Drake, Richmond, Army, Rhode Island. Detroit, Charlotte, UNC Asheville, Dayton, ESPNU, LSU, Wake from State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Big Ten Network at 2:15. Number 4, Purdue at Nebraska. 2:30, UIC, Western Michigan. Fox Sports 1, Albany, Providence. 3 o'clock on ABC. Number 8, Alabama. Number 1, Houston. Excellent game. Pac-12 Network, Denver at number 19, UCLA. Number 22, San Diego State, St. Mary's. A&M Commerce, Abilene Christian. Western Illinois, Eastern Illinois. Central Michigan, Tulsa. Wofford, Georgia Southern. Lamar, Southern Miss. Kent State, Cleveland State, SC Upstate. ESPN 2, Xavier, Cincinnati. SEC Network, Valpo, Ole Miss. 3:15 ESPN, Georgia Tech, North Carolina. 3:30 Georgia Court, Delaware State. ACC Network, Sacred Heart, Pitt. 4 o'clock, SIU, Edwardsville, Illinois State. Jacksonville, UNC, Wilmington, Longwood, Wichita. Brevard, West Carolina. Seattle, North Dakota. Utah Valley, Northern Arizona. American, George Washington. UTSA, New Mexico. Norfolk, William and Mary. Murray State, Bellarmine. Winthrop, Furman. 4:30 Yeoman Road, Northwestern State. Fox Sports 1. UNLV and Wazoo from the MGM Grand in Vegas. Big Ten Network, Brown, Michigan State. 5 o'clock, ESPN 2. Number 11, Auburn, Memphis from Atlanta. San Jose State, Santa Clara, LSU, Alexandria Southern. St. Fran, Brooklyn, USL, Fresno, Pacific, Middle Tennessee, Belmont. Eastern Washington, South Dakota State. Pac-12 Network, Butler, Cal. Fox, Villanova, BC. 5:15 ESPN, number 6, Kansas at Missouri. 5:30 ACC Network, Maryland Eastern, number 15, Duke. Tennessee Tech, Troy. Morgan State, UMBC. Grand Canyon, North Texas. Omaha, Montana State at 6. Fox Sports 2, New Hampshire, St. John's. UAB, West Virginia. 6:30 Long Beach, Sac State. Fox Sports 1, UTEP and DePaul. 7 o'clock, Boise, Eastern Kentucky. BU, Marist. Marshall, Robert Morris. Wright State, Western Kentucky. Gallaudet, James Madison, Fullerton, Southern Utah. Loyola, Maryland, Mount St. Mary's, Nevada, Oregon at Pac-12 Network. Mercer, Florida, Gulf Coast. Monmouth, Princeton. Number 10, Arizona at number 14, Indiana. 7:30 on Fox. Texas State, Texas, Arlington. Loyola, Chicago, Clemson on the ACC Network from Atlanta. 8 o'clock, Purdue, Fort Wayne, Missouri State, Sanford, Louisiana, Alcorn State, Southern Illinois, Kansas City, Green Bay, Montana, North Dakota State, St. Thomas, Idaho State, Gardner-Webb, Old Dominion, Texas, Rio Grande, Houston, Christian, Santa Barbara, Pepperdine, Boise State, St. Louis, Central Arkansas, Oral Roberts. 8:30, New Orleans, Portland. 9 o'clock, La Tech, Wyoming, St. Martin's, Weber State. 10 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, number 21, Creighton, BYU. ESPN 2, number 24, TCU, SMU. Northern Colorado, Cal State, Northridge. Portland State, Cal Poly. Cal Baptist, San Diego. And last but not least, 12:30 a.m. on Fox Sports 1, Utah State, Loyola Marymount. Sunday, 11:30 a.m., Iona and St. Bonaventure from Barclays Center. 12 o'clock, Tarleton, UCF. Calumet College, Miami of Ohio at 1. Eastern Michigan, Niagara, Maine, Merrimack. Central Con, Fordham. Bryant, Manhattan at 2. Russ Nichols, Paul Quinn, Steve F. Austin. Jackson State, Akron. Ohio and Youngstown State. Johnson Wales, North Carolina. Elan, Siena, Delaware. North Greenville, Charleston. Coppin State, East Carolina. NJIT, Fairleigh Dickinson. East Tennessee State, Morehead State. Big Ten Network, Prairie View, Northwestern. Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech on ESPN 2 from the Barclays Center. North Park, Milwaukee at 3. Chicago State, Tennessee Martin. Incarnate Word, Kansas State. 3:30, Lipscomb, Tennessee State. North American, Texas Southern. That's at 4 o'clock. Indiana State, Southern Indiana. New Mexico State, Duquesne. Bowling Green, Hampton. Navy, Towson. Peru State, Colorado State. ESPN2, Marquette, Notre Dame. 4:30 on Fox Sports 1. Number 13, Maryland. Number 7, Tennessee from the Barclays Center. UC Riverside and Idaho at 5. At 6, McNeese, number 20, Iowa State. Waldorf, North Dakota State. ESPN2, Oregon State, Texas A&M. Presbyterian, South Carolina, 6:30, Big Ten Network, Wisconsin and Iowa. Fox Sports 1, Seton Hall, Rutgers. 7 o'clock, Howard, VCU. CS East Bay, Pacific, Hofstra, UMass. 8:30, Big Ten Network, number 23, Mississippi State at Minnesota. And 10 o'clock, give St. Fran, PA, and Hawaii. All right, now move on to the NBA. We'll go over the results from yesterday's short window and look ahead to a busy weekend ahead. Heat over the Clippers, 115-110. Spurs over the Rockets, 118-109. Nuggets over the Blazers, 121-120. All right, tonight's game, 7 o'clock. You have the Knicks and the Hornets from Charlotte. My line is Knicks by 11 3/4. And New York is favored by only 3. I'm going to lay the 3 with the Knicks. I'm surprised it's this low. Charlotte has a ton of injuries, including LaMelo Ball. Unless someone's out for the Knicks that we don't know about. Wizards, Pacers. Pacers are giving 5. I have 5.5. Total 233. I'll take the under. By the way, my Knicks projection is 11 3/4. Raps, Magic. My line is Raps by 12 1/4, and it's 8. I'm going to lay to 8 with the Raptors. 7:30 Hawks, Nets from Barclays. My line's Nets by 10, and it's 7. I'm going to lay the 7 with Brooklyn. Kings, Cavs. My line is Cavs by 5 1/4, and it's 5.5. Total to 22.5. I'll take the over. That's a great game, by the way. ESPN, Lakers, 76ers. Who's going to be on the call this one? You would think Ruocco and Doris Burke or Mark Jones and Doris Burke. I can guarantee you Doris Burke or maybe Hubie Brown. Some combination of Ryan Ruocco or Mark Jones and Hubie Brown or Doris Burke. It's going to be pick your poison, one of each. I'd be surprised if it's anybody else. Sixers are giving 4, and it is, or they're giving 4.5. My projections for totals to 28. I'll take the under. Sixers are an under team. 8 o'clock, Pistons, Grizz. My line's Grizz by 16. It's 10F. I'll lay the points. Suns, Pels at 8:30. My line is Suns by 1/4, and it is Suns by 2. Totals to 28.5. I'll take the under. There's some injuries on the Pels, and Cam Johnson still out. On Phoenix, 9 o'clock, Wolves, Jazz. My line is Jazz by 3/4, and it's 2. Totals to 35.5. I'll take the under. Don't feel strong about it. Go. And 10 o'clock on ESPN, low-key good game. Bucks, Mavs, so that's Giannis against Luka. My line is Bucks by 3.5, and it's only 1. I'll lay the 1 with Milwaukee. There must be an injury on Milwaukee. The 2 lines that surprised me the most is Knicks and then Milwaukee. As short road favorites. They should be bigger favorites than that. And I don't think New York is all that good. But Milwaukee should be more than a 1-point favorite at Dallas. Like 3.5 I think is solid. But 1's disrespectful. That's Luka. All right, Saturday. 5 o'clock, Spurs, Heat. 7 o'clock, Nets, Pacers. Clips, Wiz. 7:30, Thunder, Cavs. 8 o'clock, Mavs, Bulls. The first Saturday primetime basketball game of the year. Celtics, Warriors. 8:30, ABC. Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy, all on the call. Cannot wait. It's the finals rematch. It's the Celtics and it's the Warriors. It is going to be a fun game, and just for fun, I'm going to do a projection on the spot, and this is pending injuries or anything, so right now, I would make this game Boston by 2.5 at Golden State. That would be my line. Boston by 2 3/4 would be my line right now, barring injuries. 9 o'clock, Jazz, Nuggets, and 10 o'clock, the Timberwolves and the Blazers. But that Celtics-Warriors game, tomorrow night is going to be money. All right, Sunday, 3:30, Suns, Pelicans, 6 o'clock, Kings, Knicks, Lakers, Pistons, Raps, Magic, Hornets, Sixers, 6:30, Bulls, Hawks, 7 o'clock, you have the Bucks and the Rockets. All right, now move on to the NHL. We'll go over the games from yesterday and look ahead to a busy Friday night and a busy weekend ahead. Lightning over the Preds 5-2, Leafs over the Kings 5-0, Panthers over Red Wings 5-1, Jets over the Blues 5-2, so best bet 1, and the Stars over the Senators 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Tyler Seguin. Okay, big windows tonight. 7 o'clock, you have the Penguins and the Sabres from Buffalo. Penguins kind of turned it on a little bit lately. They're minus 152. Buffalo's plus 126. Over under 7. Overs plus 116. Unders minus 142. Penguins minus 1.5 is plus 156. Sabres plus 1.5 is minus 194. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins to win in regulation at plus 106. Flames, Blue Jackets. Flames minus 255. Columbus plus 205. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Flames minus 1.5 is even money. Columbus plus 1.5 is minus 122. The Flames have been disappointing this year. That was my pick to win the Stanley Cup. I like the over in this game. I think that their offense can go off a little bit here. Isles, Devils. Devils minus 200. Isles plus 164. Over under 6. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Isles plus 1.5 is minus 154. Devils minus 1.5 is plus 124. I think the Islanders can win this game outright. I think there's going to be Islander fans at the Peru Center. So I'm going to take a shot here and throw the Islanders plus 164. I know they've... it's crazy to think that the Rangers are only 1 point back of them. Isn't that wild? The Rangers, I've called out on this podcast so many times. The Isles are only 1 point ahead of them. That's wild. I think this is a big spot for the Islanders. I'm taking them to win plus 164 to get closer to New Jersey in the division. Kraken, Caps. Caps minus 128. The Kraken are plus 106. Over under 6. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Kraken plus 1.5 is minus 225. Caps minus 1.5 is plus 180. I'm going with the Kraken. I love watching them play. They're a good team. Plus 106. 8:30, Jets, Blackhawks from Chicago. Jets minus 142. Blackhawks plus 118. Over under 6. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Jets minus 1.5 is plus 176. Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 220. I'm going with Winnipeg in regulation plus 108. 9 o'clock, Wild, Oilers. Oilers minus 132. Wild plus 110. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Wild plus 1.5 is minus 230. Oilers minus 1.5 is plus 182. I'm going to take over 6.5 at minus 105. Bruins, Coyotes at 9:30. Oh, no. I skipped one. Rangers, Avs. Rangers minus 154 at Colorado. That's wild. Avs plus 128. Over under 6. Overs plus 104. Unders minus 130. Rangers minus 1.5 is plus 168. Avs plus 1.5 is minus 210. I understand Nathan McKinnon's hurt. I think that... I really think that... the Rangers are just overrated, period. I overrated them before the season. So did everybody else. I understand the Avs don't have Nate McKinnon. But I think they can absolutely beat the Rangers, even without Nate. That's just one player. Vegas was missing like 3 guys. Rangers still won that game. They won going away in the third period. But I think the Avs can knock off the Rangers. Absolutely. Plus 128. I think it's good value on the defending champs minus their best player. I understand that. But they're home, and you think that Georgiev is going to have a little revenge on his mind. I know they beat him at MSG, but both teams were healthy and playing well at the time. But I do like Colorado at home, plus 128 to knock off the fraudulent Rangers. 9:30, the Bruins and the Coyotes. Bruins minus 350, Coyotes plus 275, over under 6, minus 110 each way. Bruins minus 1.5 is minus 134, Coyotes plus 1.5 is plus 110. Over, no brainer. Let's move on. 10 o'clock, Sharks, Ducks. Sharks minus 120, Ducks even money, over under 6.5, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Sharks minus 1.5 is plus 205, Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 260, over. And last but not least, Flyers, Golden Knights from Vegas. Vegas minus 265, Flyers plus 215, over under 6, minus 110 each way. Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 128, Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 104. Let's go with the over there as well. All right, Saturday. Not a busy Saturday like you usually would think. 1:30 Sens Preds, 2 o'clock Red Wings Stars on the NHL Network, 4:30 Panthers Lightning, 7 o'clock Kings Canadians, Sabres Penguins, Flames Leafs, 7:30 Canes Isles, and 10 o'clock Wild Canucks. Sunday, 3 o'clock ESPN Avs Blues. Not as good as a game as we thought it was going to be at the time. 6 o'clock Kings, Blue Jackets, Kraken, Panthers, 7 o'clock Flyers, Coyotes, Caps, Jets, and 8 o'clock NHL Network. A rematch of the game we saw the other day, the Bruins at the Golden Knights. All right, now I'll move on to the news and notes of the day. We are going to start with baseball and news and notes. So Aaron Judge says legacy over money. Aaron told all teams he met with he didn't want to surrender his legacy over dollars. That just is a man spoken like a true Yankee right there. I think he understands being a great Yankee and how much that means to him. And if he walked away from that, how much the fan base would turn on him. So that doesn't stun me. Seth Lugo has a market. Dodgers, Padres, and Nats see him as starting pitcher with some flexibility to relieve. But the big news from last night is that the Mets re-signed Brandon Nimmo, 8 years, $162 million. That's insane. I thought that bringing Nimmo back was a priority for the Mets, and there was some doubt in the organization that day, but they somehow pulled it off. So I don't like the contract, but Brandon Nimmo, I think, is somebody that would have been hard to replace if you were the Mets. And then they bring in David Robertson, 1 year, $10 million. I think that that's someone that they should have acquired last season at the trade deadline, but they didn't. But they ended up signing him to a good contract in free agency. And the Mets have a record payroll, $333 million, which would become $398 after the luxury tax. That is insane. And then there's talks on the New York sports local stations that the Mets might want to cut payroll, and Steve Cohen doesn't want to go too high. But there's still time in the offseason. They can trade Eduardo Escobar, James McCann, and make room for Brett Beatty and Francisco Alvarez very easily. There's executives around baseball that say that the Red Sox overpaid for Yoshida. And that he's worth less than half of the reported 5-year, $90 million deal. I just think Boston got desperate and overpaid, honestly. The Giants are the favorites for Carlos Correa as they are in the driver's seat for him due to financial flexibility and need for big name. I'm not surprised. I think that's where he ends up because they lost out on Judge. And I don't think it's a failure that they didn't sign Judge. I just don't think that was a good fit. Correa, I think, could be a better fit there than Aaron Judge. So the Red Sox fans are obviously ripping Shane Bloom after letting San Diego sign Xander Bogaerts. So we'll see, what Boston may also do. Now we'll move on to football. We didn't even talk about this because, this team's on a bye. The Atlanta Falcons will be starting Desmond Ridder and will be benching Marcus Mariota. About damn time, Falcons. I've been calling for this for 2 months. Zach Ertz had knee surgery, hopes to be ready for week 1 after having operations to repair ACL and MCL. Geno Smith was asked about adversity. He said, "My tough times would be a dream to someone else." Odell Beckham Jr. Says that him and Saquon Barkley never got to do what we were supposed to do. Is that taking a shot at Eli Manning? Is that taking a shot at Dave Gettleman? Jerry Reese wasn't there, so I can't say Jerry Reese because Gettleman was the one that drafted Saquon Barkley. I mean, I'm against New York signing Odell Beckham Jr. only because of his injury and like how he'll look after coming off the injury. And I think that attention could distract the team. So that's why I think he's better equipped to go to Jerry World than the Cowboys, personally. And then Odell says he doesn't see the point of trying to play in the regular season. So that's why if I'm him, go to the freaking Cowboys. Because the Giants are not guaranteed to make the postseason. Dallas is at this point, with how they're playing. There was rumors out there that Stanford was looking at Jason Garrett for their head coaching job. That would have been an awful hire. That would have been just as bad as Herm Edwards going to Arizona State. That would have been just as bad as the Jeff Saturday hire. It would have been the most laughable hire I could remember in a long time. But he's staying with NBC, which is good if you're Stanford. USC quarterback wins the Maxwell Award as the nation's best player over C.J. Stroud and Hendon Hooker. But that doesn't mean that he will win the Heisman. The Defensive Player of the Year, Will Anderson of Alabama. He obviously was the best defensive player all season. Not surprised. The Coach of the Year, Sonny Dykes of TCU. Well-deserved. Undefeated regular season, losing in overtime in the Big 12 title game. So obviously it has to be Sonny Dykes. There are Deion chants at the Colorado Buffaloes basketball game the other night. That doesn't surprise me. Basketball. Knicks forward Cam Reddish denies trade request, and multiple teams have expressed interest. Lakers, Heat, and Bucks. I kind of like Miami for him. I think that's the team that can get a lot out of Cam Reddish. I don't really love it for the Lakers. Milwaukee's interesting, though. He could play a small forward and play spot minutes for him, but I kind of like Miami the best for him out of those teams. Obi Toppin has a broken right fibula and will be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. It was a non-displaced fracture, so this could have been a lot worse. So that's a loss for the Knicks bench. DeJounte Murray out 2 weeks with the left ankle sprain. That's not good for Atlanta. He obviously got hurt in that game against the Knicks on ESPN the other night. Jordan Poole blasted a fan who DM'd him after he lost a bet. He goes, LMAO, my boy, you have no stats. And the last thing is that Real Madrid extends with an Endrick deal, $63 million, who will join in 2024. So that is interesting soccer news right there. All right, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. It's between the two basketball games that I alluded to earlier for this, that I felt that the teams should have been larger favorites due to either injuries or just one superior than the other. And one team in particular in the NBA is a short favorite, but it should be a larger favorite because their opponent has their star point guard out, a solid starting wing player out, and a guy that's been a solid guard off the bench. And those players that I'm talking about that are injured are LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, and Dennis Smith Jr., and their opponents, the New York Knicks. They're laying 3 against Charlotte. I'm going to make that my best bet of the day. All right, Fab 5. Just NFL because college is done. And plus the games are harder now with the FCS and the Bulls. So once the Bulls come next week, then we're going to be laying units on the Bulls. All right. So we got to have a good week this week. Last week was bad. But Thanksgiving week was decent. All right. First pick of the Fab Five. I'm going back to the baby. It's Minnesota. They're getting 1.5 at Detroit. It is insane to me that they're a dog in this spot. They're better than the Lions. Kirk Cousins is better than Jared Goff. Kirk Cousins plays well in day games and in domes. So giving Minnesota getting the 1.5 at Detroit against the Lions. Maybe I think this is a game. I think Detroit will be competitive. Don't get me wrong, but I just think Minnesota's better. Pick number 2, I'm going to lay 5.5 with the Cincinnati Bengals against the Browns. They're just better than Cleveland, fair and square. And I believe that this is a team in Cincinnati that is coming together at the absolute perfect time. So I'm going to lay the 5.5 with the Bengals against the Browns. Pick number 3, I'm laying 3.5 with Tennessee against Jacksonville. They're better than Jacksonville, fair and square. I don't know why that they're only 3 in the hook. Pick number 4, I'm going to take the Chiefs minus the 9.5 at Denver. I understand that Denver has been competitive with the Chiefs in the Mahomes era, but I don't think it's going to be this game. So I'm going to lay the 9.5 with the Chiefs against Denver. And the final pick of the Fab Five this week, I'm going to lay 3.5 with San Francisco against the Bucks. They're better than the Bucks. I understand it's Brock Purdy. Don't run off the Niners. I think this team's going to be motivated. So I'm going to lay the 3.5 with San Francisco against the Buccaneers. And then the money line underdog pick of the week. This is a tough one because I don't like many dogs this week. And the one that I'm going to roll with, I'm going to just obey my rule because there's no dogs over 3-point dogs that like went outright. So I'm just going to ride my Minnesota Vikings. And I call them my team because they've been like my betting team all year. And plus 108 as a dog against the Detroit Lions. Okay, so that's it for the show. I'll be back on Monday recapping the weekend and looking at everything going on Monday. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, everyone.